Welcome to Cloud Oasis blog, and thank you for joining me on the fourth and the last Azure Stack Deployment Cloudcast. My name is Haliaman, and on today's Cloudcast, I will run through the steps to install the Azure Stack Development Kit for training and testing purposes. Starting with downloading the Azure Stack Development Kit, extract the new downloaded package, copy the deployment folders to the C drive, run the install Azure Stack POC script. With that, let's get started. Let's start the download. Browse to the Microsoft Azure website, Product, Azure Stack Development, and let's download the Azure Stack Development Kit. Fill the form, accept, submit, choose the download software, and let's save locally. We'll save in my temp folder and run. We'll choose the build. Optional, you can enable the download of the Windows Server 2016 evaluation version ISO. I will skip that. Browse the temp folder and press download. The download complete. Let's run and extract. Next. I will keep in the temp folder. And let's run through the extract process. Once complete, let's press finish and browse to the temp directory. We will find under the temp directory Azure Stack Development Kit subdirectory. Let's mount a Cloud Builder virtual disk, and let's browse to the F drive and copy 3 directories: Cloud Deployment, FW Update, and Tools. Let's copy them to the C drive. After we copy, let's dismount the drive and clean the temp directory to save some space. Next, let's run the PowerShell command as admin and change the directory to the C drive, Cloud Deployment, setup, and run the command install Azure Stack POC. And on our tenant name, remember the tenant name that I use on my Azure subscription. I will enter it here. And as you can see, I use a subnet 172 subnet. This subnet that it's not being used anywhere on my subscription. So you will be able to choose any subnet, a free subnet that you're not using in your subscription, in Azure subscription or your network. So I choose the 172.16 and press enter. The script will ask for a password for all the new VMs that will be created during the installation process. So I will provide a password here and press enter, and then you have to specify the time server IP address and press enter. Again, just remember that the deployment script will take very long hours, so you have to sit patiently and wait for the script to complete. On the sign in stage, I will use the username I created on the Azure Cloud Active Directory and press next, and I will use the temporary password and sign. Because this is the first login for this user, so we have to change the password and press update. Unexpected failure due to the hardware minimum check required by the Azure Stack deployment script. As you remember, the virtual machine I created on part 2 has a lower CPU and memory than the recommended by Microsoft. Also, we are deploying the Azure Stack on a virtual machine and not physical server as the deployment script expects. Hence all the following errors. To avoid this error for the next time I will run the deployment script, I need to browse the C drive, Cloud Deployment, Roles, Physical Machines, Test, and edit the BareMetal test. And then let's search for a parameter called isVirtualizedDeployment, and we will remove the -not. These parameters appear 3 times throughout the script. Second, and the third. Once that's done, you can close, save, and close. Next, let's make sure that the script will not check the CPU and memory specification by browsing the cloud deployment, configuration, roles, infrastructure, BareMetal, and then right-click and edit the OneNodeRole. And let's change number of cores. I will put 1, 96, I will put 9 only. The size of the data disk 135, I will put that 13. I will remove the 0 here, and the 3 disk, we already have the 3 disk. And let's save and close. Now we are ready to rerun the script. So back to the PowerShell and run the install AzureStack POC script -run. The script now will run for some time, so we have to sit patiently and come back when something interesting come up. While the script is still running, let's open the Hyper-V manager and let's wait for the first VM to appear here. During the deployment, AzureStack will deploy 13 virtual machines, and the first one will be the Active Directory virtual machine. I will keep the Hyper-V manager open and wait for the first virtual machine to appear. Here we are, the first virtual machine just provisioned. This virtual machine is the domain controller. Next, our virtual machine that we deployed the AzureStack on will join to the domain and reboot. Okay, our virtual machine joined the domain and rebooted. To reconnect, we have to change the username to AzureStack as a domain, AzureStackAdmin, the same password, and then connect. As you can see, the script is still running. Let's run the Hyper-V manager and let's wait for the next virtual machine. To save some time, I will create a new virtual switch called NATSwitch. We need this virtual switch later on. So just to save time, I will run through the steps now by opening the PowerShell as admin, and I will run the first PowerShell command. All the commands I use you can find on the notes of this video and also from my blog. So this is the first command, new switch. Second, specify the network adapter. Third command, and here we are. We finish with this step. I will close and I will wait for the next virtual machine to provision. The second virtual machine just provisioned. My next step will be changing the setting of the network of this new created virtual machine by open the Hyper-V manager, virtual machine, setting, and under the NAT, I will change to the new NATSwitch we just create on the previous step. And okay. We expect the script to run for hours now. Here we are, an expected error. If you were reading my blog post about deploying the Azure Stack, you will realize that I already mentioned this error on the blog. The deployment script failed on invocation of step 60, and to fix this error, I can run the invocation command for step 60 and run. As I promised you during the introduction, the deployment process will not going to run smoothly, and I expect to face several errors. Our next errors appear, and this time before I resume deployment, I will run this command, when rm set, and then I will resume the invoke command for 60, 160.